So here we are with the long-awaited Project Cars 2. PC2 has been something that I've been waiting on for quite a while, simply because Project Cars 1 was such a good title and has so much potential, but it fell short in many different areas. With Project Cars 2, they have tend to add some features that we didn't really know that we were missing, but the biggest thing that we were looking for was for them to correct the little minor mistakes that they've made. As we're looking at this 911 GT3 come around the track here at Big Willow, you see the chassis bobble, you see a whole lot of things, a lot of adhesion that this car has. They did a little bit of a change to the tire physics, which made it that much better. The cars handle so much better than they were on the same tunes. You could take tunes from Project Cars 1, implement them into Project Cars 2, and you're going to get a far different result than you got from PC1 to PC2. And it's warranted and it feels very good. Like 911 GT3 RS is a very challenging chassis to drive, but it's looking very solid and it's usable. You can deal with it. It's not too bad of a car once you get the hang of it, and it won't kill you in every corner. So of course we're using Logitech G29, and with a track like this, Long Beach, I've never driven, but I am driving a car that was my favorite from Project Cars 1. As I said, same exact tune, you bring it over and you put it in the cars and you get a far better result. So being able to use the same familiarity on the handling of the game, now we've got a better steering wheel. It feels like the feedback has changed in a way that is far more realistic. You used to be able to only turn the steering wheel a couple of rotations or maybe a few degrees or two off of 600 degrees, and the rest of the steering was just useless and lifeless. Now you've got your full rotation and full feedback, as well as the animation showing on the screen. It's getting full turns as well. You can see the adhesion that the car has going through the course. It's very usable. It looks extremely good. The audio is pretty cool. They're kind of a step or two off of what reality would be, but you know, how real do we really think that all these games are going to get? Once it gets to the point where it's extremely real, then there's going to be guys not really racing and just staying on the games. Sonoma Raceway here. This is my favorite track. Once again, my favorite car as well, Ferrari F40. Just the favorite car, period, in life. We've got the competition version here, and rolling through the gearbox is a little challenging with this car. At first, I did not know that I didn't have to use the clutch, so I like to use the clutch on it. But even if you roll through the gears without using the clutch, you come up on like this faulty shift thing. It'll go into gear, but then just bang limiter. If you let off of the throttle and get back on the throttle, it's in gear and it goes fine. So it's kind of like a clutch slip. So if you are pretty good timed with your shifts, it's better to use the clutch with this car. And you know, having the Ferrari F40 in this game, it does give me a benefit to try to tune the car, because you could roll with the stock setup. The car will be pretty fast, but if you give the car a tune, then you definitely get to tailor your feel. And with the new addition of the race engineer on the tuning, you can get a good tune, and then maybe if it's a little this or a little that on the corners, you can have the race engineer change the setup or give you some suggestions, and you can dial in your tune a little bit better. Right here, you got the GT86 flying around, Horsethief. And if you do notice, my driver's side wheel, that tire is smoking quite a bit. The physics and the damage in this game are pretty unique. You can definitely overheat tires and they'll just smoke for a while. You can overheat the brakes. You can basically overheat anything on this game that functions. I believe even with the Rallycross, if you've got a poor damper setup, you can damage your dampers, and they definitely don't work as good when they're overheated. The tires right here still give you some feedback, but when you're looking at the replays, if the temperatures got really hot on the tires, they're going to be represented in the replay for the whole time. So Right now, we're just looking at the 86 GT. Well, I'm sorry, you're looking at the GT86 bounce around the track. Horsethief is pretty bumpy if you're trying to keep some grip, but it's a very quick, very short track, and it's very demanding on your suspension as you go up high with suspension unloads and down low with real loaded suspension on the corners. GT86 is a pretty fun car, but I don't use that in the GT4 class. I'm actually having a lot of fun using the RTR GT4 car. Now, speaking of touring, since I was speaking on GT class, touring car class is actually one of the more entertaining. If you look back here in this braking zone, guys are just bumping and bashing into each other, and I just try to stay wide on the first corner just because I don't want to be in a melee. These touring cars are pretty cool. They're grouped up really close, so you can be accelerating down the straight and not gain any ground. It's just all about how committed you're going to be going into the corners and driving out of the corners. Of course, I have the game set on Pro, which is beyond 100%, and these guys give their all. You got to keep the aggression down, because if you have a really high aggression, these dudes are just like the maddest drivers on the planet and will run into you at all costs, and it'll virtually be unplayable. So right now, aggression's set to about 50%, which is pretty aggressive, and the skill level is set to Pro. So they make you really work hard at it. As you see, he's just fully on it, gives me a little bump and gets by. And it's pretty fun because, you know, the cars aren't that much different in performance, so you just have to try to gain your ground back and really use some driving talent and driving skill. And these cars slide around quite a bit, but take a second and look at the visuals. Look at the lights in the background and things like that. Look at the visuals of this rain right here and the close-up of the rain and the mud on the body of the car. The visuals are really interesting here in this game, and they've done a good job of the rain spray coming off the tires. Let's talk about the physics some more. I was trying to slide right here. It takes quite a bit of setup on the game to get the steering wheel right. Not only do you have the force feedback settings, but you have the sensitivity settings. You also have the flavor adjustments and setups. So it takes quite a bit of time for me to not only get used to the physics to slide the car like this, but also to get used to where I want the steering wheel to give me the proper feel at and how I can obtain that. The physics are pretty good. You really have to focus. This is a lot harder to drift than in real life. You can see right there, it was burning rubber and I did have counter steer, but it didn't fully represent. Now when we move over to the rally, of course, you only want to drive from the rally course where a lot of slide. I'll show you first person view so that you can see the hands and see how active we are in the car as you're driving in. As I did say, the steering wheel represents exactly the motions and movements that I'm using on my G29. The representation of speed in the cockpit is actually really good. It's something I love. This is the only view that I do drive in. I use that panning for the hood movement, so it looks in and around the apex. It's really similar to what's going on in real life. And until they get the VR release, this is just the experience that I partake in. Rallycross is pretty fun here on the Daytona track, and I mean, I'm sending this thing. You got to be silly if you don't send a car like this. Look at that, just send that thing out. Let it go. The suspension is really good. This is the only thing I hate about using that in cars. He'll look at the direction if he thinks he's going to spin out. But sending it is always the best option. Look how the suspension works. The physics is so good, and how they model the suspension and tire physics, it's just all there. You get all kind of grip, you get all kind of movement and motion, and you see when you're inside the cockpit, it doesn't look like it's tilting and swaying that much, which is kind of a real thing. You don't feel like you're moving around and swaying that much in the car, but when you look outside the car, there's a lot of movement. So now, the GTE Production cars are a very good asset. You know, a guy tried to cut me off, he got slammed. I love the GT3 class, but these are a little different than GT3. They are the endurance class cars, and they're built a lot different. The headlight setups are a lot different. Even the interior, the cameras or monitors that are in the car. They're placed in other directions and other areas. So whereas I used the Aston Martin a lot during the GT3 racing, I tried to jump into GTE, and this is a sick camera view. The GTE car is actually pretty cool. The time of day is dope. The daytime transitions and changes of this game offers, the way that it bounces sunlight off the cars, and you get different reflections and the colors that come along with it. It's amazing. It sucks that the latest title of Gran Turismo took away the transitions. You get the different periods of day, but you don't get the transitions of daytime. Once again, to Sonoma during the GT3 race, and I'm using my ultimate newest favorite car in the GT3 class, the 650S. This car is really easy to drive, and like I said, the physics is so good on this game. It's a lot easier to drive than the last option, Project Cars original game, Project Cars 1. So you can take the same tunes, put them on your cars, and just jump in and enjoy them and drive the track and have a good situation. You can even be competitive. This was an online race, so the guys were chasing me down, but I was able to kind of keep the pace up and outpace them in certain parts of the track, which are my favorites, starting here, coming down that slingshot and just stay wide and run it out, break real deep. That's just my most fun portion of the track. But it's great to experience. This is a really good game, really good offering. I'm glad with what they've done with it to improve from the last one, but there are a lot of bugs that are left in this game that they really need to do an update, because day one is fun, but there's so many bugs with screen transitions and title screens and everything like that holding up and stalling. It kind of takes the fun factor away from it. When you want to do real quick tune changes or setup changes, it'll take at least 45 seconds to enter into that screen, so it kind of makes you frustrated. It takes the fun out of that as well. So if they get those patches put in really quickly, we will get even more excited about this game and possibly play it a lot more, because we've got Gran Turismo Sport coming out in 2 weeks now. So these guys have got to get it right. They've got to get it corrected so that we'll put more time in, and it'll be an option. Like when we're playing GT Sport, and once you get bored or tired of that, or if you just want to change your pace, you'll want to pop this game in and get a good variety going on your console with what you're going to be driving. And they've got to come with this VR patch as well. I really want to use my headset. I don't know why they thought it was going to be a good idea to release this without the VR support, but they did it. And like I said, I've got to use the in-car with the head panning for now, but I wanted to experience this game in virtual reality. I want to move my head around and use my mirrors. I want to know where the guys are at without me having to hit the look back button. That's something that I really want. Just for the further experience, to immerse myself further into what I'm experiencing that looks extremely realistic and feels extremely realistic now. Getting the visuals to the point where I'm fully in this car is going to be an experience that cannot be replaced. And I may not drive in any other way other than VR once I get the VR option. And especially with drifting. With drifting on this game, if I could look around and all the places I'm going and how I'm going to be maneuvering, that's nothing but an asset. So if I was just to give my initial rating on this game, I'm going to give it a solid 7.3. The game's really good. It looks really good. It sounds very good. But just with those missing portions of the proper screen loading, proper menu options, between cycling between those to get to them and back out of them, those bugs need to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed really fast. We want to spend time on this game. I want to experience more. I want to go further in my career on the game, but those things just have to be changed really quickly. So as far as day one experience, I'm gonna give this a big thumbs up. Between this and Forza 7, I'm gonna pick this any day of the week, mainly because it looks really good and it drives really good. I can't get over how well they improve with the force feedback and the wheel, the feeling of running over those curves right there, and the transitions of feeling the car's weight in the steering wheel, being able to choose the flavors, being able to choose the sensitivities, and being able to choose the force feedback. That's something beyond compare, and that's what you don't get with many titles, and I'm glad that they involved it in this, as well as packaging it in with a beautiful visual and very well crafted cars and interiors. So I'm gonna keep hammering away at the game, get some more experience out of it, and give you some more feedback. With Gran Turismo Sport coming out here in about 2 weeks around, we'll figure out if we've got a battle on our hands and maybe give it a good showdown head to head and see what we've got coming out as the winner, at least in my opinion. So stay tuned. Thanks for joining us, and I'll check you guys out on the next one. Peace.